It's been a couple of weeks since we had a shiur in this house. I just got back from Israel. I gave a shiur in Israel, Baruch Hashem, which was from my hotel room. Yeah. So it's already out on TorahAnytime.com. It's called Seek and Pursue. So this week's shiurim, I don't have my list in front of me because I started writing the shiur in Israel. So I don't have my list of previous shiurim. But I remember on Parashat Yitro there was a shiur from a few years ago called The Greatest Show on Earth. And if you want to check out the previous shiurim on Torah Anytime, just any of the shiurim on TorahAnytime.com are guaranteed to give you merit and make you happy, make you besimcha, because today we're going to explore the reason, and that is because this week's parsha we received our holy Torah. So, Yitro is a very special parsha for me personally. It's my Bar Mitzvah Sedra. It contains the 10 Commandments, and it's named after Yitro, who was the father-in-law of Moshe Rabbeinu. And if we go straight into the 18th Perek, and we look at Pasuk 10, so Yud Chet, Pasuk Yud, will show us something very interesting, because Moshe Rabbeinu, where is it? Yeah. Moshe Rabbeinu was you'll see from this Pasuk, Yitro said, Baruch Hashem. He said, Baruch Hashem, Asher Etzila Etchem Yam Mitzrayim, U'miyad Paro, Asher Etzila Ta'am Mitachat Yad Mitzrayim. Yitro said, Baruch Hashem. And we are told that Yitro was the first person to say Baruch Hashem. Yeah. He was the first person. So
he saw it so clearly.
It's clear, but at the same time, Baruch Hashem is you say thank God. It's an expression of Hakarat Tov. So are we to say that the Jewish people never had Hakarat Tov, gratitude towards Hashem before this? But we just saw last week's parasha, the Shirat Hayam. Yashir Moshe v'nei Israel et Ashir Azot, all the beautiful praises of Bnei Israel, thanking Hashem, not just for then, for the future when we'll be redeemed. So many thanks. Doesn't that count for anything? And Yitro comes and says, Baruch Hashem, and now we're saying, wow, he's the first one to say thank God. Well, what about the Jewish people? So, Rav Shimon Schwab gives an answer. In fact, he gives two answers. He says like this. He says, Shirat Hayam was different from saying Baruch Hashem. Why? Because Shirat Hayam was all of Klal Yisrael collectively. All of them. Men, women, children, even unborn children in the mother's womb. Like the mother's stomach became transparent, and the babies could see out, and they were pointing Zeh Keli Vanvehu. Yeah. Zeh Keli Van. That's what, even the unborn children. Yeah. So it was a collective praise of Hashem. But when Yitro came by himself, he was a yachid, was an individual. He was the first one who by himself said Baruch Hashem. Yeah, because the Jews at that point felt that they could only praise Hashem properly when they were one unit. Collectively, they didn't feel they could praise and say Baruch Hashem and have gratitude on an individual basis. They thought, no, this we can't do. You're going to see in the next point I'm going to make, you're going to see how relevant this is. So they felt, no, we can only praise Hashem as a group. How can you praise Hashem individually? And the second reason that Klal Yisrael, why they did not say Baruch Hashem up until this point, is because of a human fallibility that everyone has. Because a person, when you say thank you to somebody, you normally wait till the person finishes the thing you're thanking him for. So let's say you give somebody a lift somewhere from London to Manchester. When you get to Manchester, you get out of the car. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, you don't say thank you when you get in the car necessarily, you don't feel like you want to say thank you. When you stop off at the service station, you don't say thank you. When you stop the car to have a cup of coffee, you don't say thank you. You stop to get petrol, you don't say thank you. You say thank you right at the end. So Bnei Israel felt, listen, we're still on a journey. We can't say thank you right now. We have to wait to the end. But Yitro, for him, once he landed in the Machane Israel, he landed by the Jewish people, he felt, look, my job's done, I'm finished now. Now I'm here, chalas. That's the end of it. So now I can say Baruch Hashem. I've landed on my feet, I'm here, that's it. But Bnei Israel felt, no, this isn't the end of the journey. The end of the journey is when we get to Har Sinai. Then we'll say thank you to Hashem. But now we're back on the journey. Hashem said, no, this is not correct. Because even if you're still en route, you're still going on the way, you can still say thank you. So if you do go from London to Manchester and somebody takes you there and you stop off to get petrol, say, you know what, thank you so much. I want to thank you. You gave me a lift. Yeah, thank you for putting petrol. Thank you. Just, you can still say thank you along the way. You don't have to wait right to the end. That's two very important lessons that we learn from Rav Schwab, that you have to have thank you, not just collectively, not just my shul says thank you to your shul, or my community says thank you to your community. You can also say it as a yachid, as an individual. Right. Now this, what I just mentioned, has relevance in my next point, because what happened, the Jewish people came, we see in the next parak, Yud Tet, Pasuk Beit. A famous Pasuk, it says there, Vayachanu b'midbar, vayichan sham Yisrael neged hahar. Yeah, they came from Refidim, they went in the desert of Sinai, and they camped in the desert, and they encamped, the Jews, opposite the mountain. Yeah, why it doesn't say Vayachanu sham? Yeah, Vayachanu is plural. They camped. There was a lot of them. 600,000 males, 3 million men, women, and children. What Vayichan means he. Who's he? So the famous answer is they were all Be'ish Ke'ish Echad B'Leiv Echad. Everyone was together. So it's like one collective neshama. Yeah, we know this. They camped as one. But I saw today a beautiful idea behind this word Vayachanu. Vayichan. Or Vayachanu for that matter. The root of the word Vayichan, is to, like Machane, a camp. But it also contains the word Chet Nun. Chet Nun is Chain. What does Chain mean? Yeah. Chain means grace. Like Vanoach Matzah Chain Beinei Hashem. Noach backwards is Chain. Noach, Chain, Noach, same letters. So Noach himself had grace. He found grace before Hashem. He had a veneer. He had a perception that was very graceful. So, what does this show us about Klal Yisrael? That to go to Har Sinai to receive the Torah, bless you, you have to have grace. You need to find favor. Grace is favor. You need to find chen in your fellow man's eyes. Yeah. So in other words, you want to be one people. Don't just be a person for your own self. Go and find favor in your friend's eyes. Make yourself available for him. Make yourself gracious for his benefit. Once you do that, then you can be in position where you can receive the Torah. That's from Rav Yitzchak of Vorka. But there's another beautiful idea. Yeah? So in other words, if you want to find grace, you make sure you involve your friend. You want to be in a position where you're ba'achdut, you're together, and you receive the Torah, find favor in your friend's eyes. But this second idea from the Ori Yesharim is beautiful. This is beautiful because a while ago, I can't remember which shir, Lian and I have a few shiurim on TorahAnytime.com, and sometimes I don't remember which shiur I said which vort. Yeah? But I did say this on a previous shiur, that the Yetzer Hara in the end of days will appear in two very different ways to the people, to Klal Yisrael. The Yetzer Hara will appear to one set of people as a mountain, and to another set of people as like a strand of hair. Yeah? Who will perceive the Yetzer Hara as a mountain? The tzaddikim. Why? Hashem will show them, look at this mountain. And they say, what? Well, what is this mountain? Hashem will say, this is the Yetzer Hara. And we will be going crazy. What? We defeated the Yetzer Hara? This huge mountain? Hashem said, yes, because you took a step and I helped you and you defeated him. But the Rishaim are the ones who will perceive the Yetzer Hara as a thin hair. Hashem will say, look at this hair. They'll say, well, what is this? They say, Hashem will say, this is the Yetzer Hara. Then they'll also be going crazy. Why? They'll say, the Rishaim will say, what? This is the Yetzer Hara, like a strand? We could have just beaten him so easily. But we gave in to him. We could have vanquished him. Pushed him away very easily. So that's two different perceptions of the Yetzer Hara. Now, with this in mind, think about this. Vayichan Sham Yisrael Neged Hahar. Vayichan Sham, we said, means Klal Yisrael are together. They are one person, one unified neshama. If we are together as a people standing together, then Neged Hahar, we can fight against the mountain. What's the mountain? The Yetzer Hara. You want to fight against Yetzer Hara? You can't do it by yourself. You want to fight with him? Forget it. You can't do it. You need to be ba'achdut. You need to join together with your friend. You need to have a chavrutza. You need to, of course, the best way to fight against the Yetzer Hara is to run away. Turn your back on him and belt it the other way. Run to the Beit HaMidrash. But if you want to stand a chance of vanquishing him, Vayichan Sham, be ba'achdut. Hashem will reward you. And you'll be able to stand up against the mountain of the Yetzer Hara. That's from the Or Yesharim. Beautiful, beautiful idea. Okay, let's push on now, as I've got. Normally I give a few stories. Today I'm going to give one whopper of a story, which I'm chalashing to tell you. But let's get through the parasha a little bit. So, again, we're on 19, verse 13. Okay? Where is it? Yud Tet, verse 13. Here we go. Lo tiga bo yad, ki sakol yisakel o yaro yare im behima im ish lo yiche b'mshoch hayovel heima yalu v'har. This was an enjoyment. Hashem enjoying the people. In fact, he warned the people, don't come near the mountain. Yeah, the whole camp of the Jewish people was shuddering. Yeah, the Machaneh of Israel was shuddering. Why? They were about to receive the Torah. So, not just the camp, the Jewish camp was shuddering, the whole world was shaking. And we discussed in a previous shiur the midrash that says that the nations started worrying. What's going on? Is Hashem going to destroy the world? Yeah, this was a worldwide event. Can you imagine? In Australia, they're reporting earthquakes. In the UK, earthquakes. In Timbuktu, earthquakes. Everyone, the whole world, everyone's shaking, right? The Goyim came out and they went to their leader. Who was their leader? Bilam. Bilam was the leader of the Goyim. And they said to Bilam, what's going on? Hashem was going to destroy the world? Bilam said, no. This is the Jews poised to receive the Torah. Yeah, they're about to receive the Torah. That's why. So what did the nations do? They went, is that it? Very nice. Good luck to them. We're going back to our pubs and our clubs and our discos and our internet cafes. Thank you very much. We'll be seeing it. Yeah? Nobody took any notice of the world shaking or the receiving of the Torah or the fact that this is going to put the Jews on a totally different level. Nobody cared except one man. One man from the 99 whatever percent of the world. I don't know if it was the same percentages in those days. Certainly now, the percentage of Gentiles to Jews are 0.02% of the world population. Gentiles, let's do a bit of maths, 99.98% of the world is Gentiles. Okay? So from those Gentiles, you would think, how many of them said, you know what? Let's go to Har Sinai. Let's become Jewish. Let's accept this what? From billions of people, you expect, okay, maybe 1 million might have made the trek to Har Sinai. Yeah, maybe they got an EasyJet plane. They chartered a couple of EasyJet planes, came with a speedy boarding, and they flew to Israel. They took a hasa'ah, took a what do you call it? Like a car, a big like a minivan. They belted it out to the desert and said, okay, we ready? Yalla, let's receive the Torah. Yeah? No, there was no EasyJet planes. There was no minibuses, nothing. One man came along. One man from the Gentiles came along. No prizes for guessing who that was. The parasha is named after him. Yitro. The only one from billions upon billions of people. He was the only one who said, yeah, I care. I'm going to do this. I'll come with you. One person. Now, we see another tremendous thing from this. Because Hashem sustains the entire world. Good and not so good, and even worse than not so good. Hashem sustains everything for one reason. All the nonsense that goes on in the world, the ISIS, and all the terrible people, and the death and the murder and the corruption. Hashem says all this for one reason. You know why? For the 0.02% of the world population, for the Jews. Hakol bishvil Israel. If it wasn't for us, the world would have ceased to exist. It wouldn't. It doesn't. It's just hypothesis because it can't happen. The reason why the world is here is because of the Jewish people. That's the simple, non-politically correct answer. Yeah, it's all here for us. Hashem considers it worthy to have all these Rishaim, all these evil people, these evil things and everything. You know why? Because I have one pearl. I have one precious stone amongst all these thorns and thistles and all the other pasolet and, all the garbage. One little thing. And that's my Jewish people. Why? Because we're elitist. We want to lord it over everybody else? No. Yeah, people say, oh, you think you're the chosen nation. Well, yes, we were. We didn't choose us. We didn't say, hey, let's become the chosen nation. That's not our choice. I'm happy Hashem chose us. But at the end of the day, Hashem chose us. And it doesn't come just like a title, You like the Queen comes with a sword and says, I hereby knight you, Sir, whatever, Sir Michael Smith. And then the person goes off, yeah, wonderful. I'm now a Sir Michael Smith and I can do what I want. No, lahavdil. Hashem crowned us as the chosen nation, not just for us to walk around with our head in the clouds, because it's a responsibility. Because we have to learn Torah. That's how the world is sustained, by the Jews who learn Torah. It's as simple as that. It's just a simple equation. So because he chose us, he gave us a responsibility to keep this Torah. So this, we're learning about Har Sinai. We makabel something which L'dorei dorot, for generation upon generation, sustains the world forever. Or until Hashem decides, that he wants to keep the world. He sustains everything because of this seminal event in this week's parsha. Because he took us, He said, you are the ones to keep the Torah, and because we do keep the Torah, that's why we're here 5776. And even with all the garbage and the nonsense that's going on, be that as it may, it's sustained because of us and because we learn Torah. That's the simple thing. This is the simple answer. Now Hashem wants to reveal himself, and he wants to announce himself, as it were. So there's a big fanfare. If we now move over to Perek Chav, Pasuk Tet Vav, that's 20, verse 15. By the way, Tet Vav instantly reminded me of Tu B'Shvat. Yeah, 15th of Shvat. We just had Tu B'Shvat, which is a beautiful, beautiful new year. It's a new year for the trees. Yeah, where we eat loads and loads of fruits. So it says here, V'cho, 2015. No. Yes, sorry. Before we get to the point about Hashem announcing himself, I'm going a little bit out of order. No, I'm not. I'm going for 20 verse 15, which says, V'chol ha'am ro'im et hakolot v'et halapidim v'et kol ha'shofar v'et har ha'shein v'har ha'am v'anu v'amdu merachok. Hashem basically did something very unusual. Yeah, nothing unusual for Hashem. He very often does miracles. People saw the sounds, and they saw what there was to hear, and they heard what there was to see. In other words, a person sees lightning, yeah? A person can hear thunder, but can a person see thunder? No. Here, we actually saw the thunder. Now, thunder is just a sound. There's nothing to see. You can see the lightning, but can you see a sound? No, of course not. But over here, we saw what there was to hear, and we heard what there was to see. So in other words, before Hashem gave us the Torah, Hashem expanded our consciousness. He gave us an added perception, whatever that means. You know, you can explain this scientifically, because I'm not sure the exact percentage, but a person only uses a small amount of his brain potential. I think something between 4 and 10%. I suppose it depends on the individual. Some people don't even use 1%. Yeah, some people brain boxes probably push into double figures, but normally it's in the very low percentages. We don't use not even 10% normally of our brain power. So scientists have been beating themselves up over the centuries. What's the other 90% for? You know what it's for? I will tell you what our rabbis have said, which the scientists have no idea about. The 90% is going to be our expanded, first of all, it was part of our expanded consciousness before we received the Torah. And at the end of days, when we get Mashiach, Hashem is going to open up that new hard drive. He's going to give us the other 90-odd%, and we're going to use our full brain power. Why? Because we're going to need it. Because we're going to see stuff then when Mashiach comes that with your little 4, 5, 10%, forget it. You won't know what's flying. So all that brain power is all waiting for the final era of Mashiach, when we'll need it. We'll need it. There's going to be so much going on. We're going to see what was to be heard. We're going to hear what's going to be seen. So many things that seem, how can we comprehend this? We will comprehend it, because Hashem will open up that consciousness for us. Now, there's a pasuk which says, I am Hashem who took you out of Egypt. Okay? Nothing wrong with that. Hashem was the one who took us out of Egypt. But I have a question on this. Hashem did something even more impressive than taking us out of Egypt. Hashem did something which was unbelievable. What was that? Created the world. He created everything. So if Hashem wanted to announce himself and, give us something to think about, to realize who we're dealing with, he should say, I'm God. I created everything. Then we'll go, oh, wow. You're the God who created the whole, the world, space, the stars, everything. Oh, wow, that's pretty impressive. Okay, you've got our attention now. So why didn't Hashem say that? Why did Hashem say, I'm the God who took you out of Egypt? Lord it up a little bit, if you excuse the pun. Talk big. And maybe we'll listen more keenly if we know, at least we know somewhat who we're dealing with. The Kuzari gives a beautiful answer. Why Hashem just said, I'm Hashem who took you out of Egypt, and not I'm Hashem who created everything. The Kuzari said, there is a big difference between creating the world and taking the Jews out of Egypt. Because who witnessed the exodus of Egypt? Every single man, woman, and child who came out of Egypt. Every one of them. Yeah? 3 million people. They all witnessed it. Who witnessed the creation of the world? Not one person. There was angels. Yeah? Hashem created it. Nobody can say, you know what? I remember when God made the water and when God, made the animals. Yeah, because I was there. Now, if somebody says that he was there, do not believe him. Even Adam Rishon was not there. Adam was created when everything was ready for him. He came out, he sees the whole world. He says, thank you very much. It's very nice. He didn't come out and see a work in progress. He didn't come up and see all these signs saying, I'm waiting to form the swans. I'm waiting to make the elephants. No, Hashem made everything for him. But even he wasn't witness to the creation. So that's not something you want to say, and have people say, yeah, I remember that. I was there. I heard about that. No, because there was no human recollection. But Yitzhak Mitzrayim, every Jew was there because they were taken out. Not only that, the rest of the world knew about it. They knew, wow, the Jewish people are coming out. Yeah, because that's what sparked off Amalek. Because they said, the Jews are coming out, let's teach them a lesson. Yeah, they came with spite. Because the world knew. So Hashem said, look, I'm Hashem who took you out of Egypt. That is a world event. That you can relate to. That's why Hashem said that. Nothing to do with being impressive and saying, look, I created everything. Now, there's another answer, says Rav Yaakov Neyman. He says like this. He said, if you think about it, who else could have created the universe? Is there any doubt? Right? Of course, if you're an atheist, you're going to say there was a big bang, there was a collection of gases, there was some atoms knocking around, things happened. Okay, it's billions and billions of like billions to one, like the odds are billions to one that could happen, yeah? Oh, but it still happened. There was no external force. It just, things are knocking together, and then over the billions of years, we got a universe and everything, and stars and seas and, and people and yeah, that's how, that's an atheist's version of how things happened. No, but a person who is rational, he realized there's a God, only he could have created the world. There's no other force. It never created itself. Okay, so if it's a toss-up between God and some other power, we know it's God. There was nobody else there to create it. But the Exodus, you could turn around and say, millions of people came out of Egypt. Who brought them out? They did. Yeah? The Egyptians died. The Jewish people came out. That wasn't God's act. The Jewish people just one day picked themselves up and walked out. What's that? That's not an act of God. That's just an act of people in transit. They just decided, you know what? Egypt's not the place for us. Let's find somewhere else. We're going. Yeah? Hashem said, no. I am Hashem who took you out of Egypt. That was me who did that. Don't make the mistake and think there was any human intervention there. Don't make the mistake of thinking the Jews just did it of their own accord. No, I was the one who took them out of Egypt. I was the one who decimated Mitzrayim and made it possible for them to be brought out. So therefore, that was Hashem's statement to show that, excuse me, don't forget about me. Yeah, I was intimately involved and I was the cause of Yetziat Mitzrayim. Now, having finished that, let's move on to our story. Okay, this story, I should have told this last week, but I sort of ran out of time, and this needs a little bit of time, this story. This is a story of hashgacha, of divine providence. There's no other way you can explain this story. You're going to see why. Yeah? If you're an atheist, watch out, because your belief or non-belief is going to be challenged right now. Okay? So if you're an atheist and you're listening now, be prepared to be challenged. Okay? It's a true story. So, once upon a time in Israel, in fact, it was in Yerushalayim where I was, Baruch Hashem, this past week. Yeah. By the way, I was visiting my mother. Those of you who've asking how my mother is doing now that she's made Aliyah, a few people have written to me and asked me very kindly. They're following up. How's she doing? Baruch Hashem, she's doing okay. She just found herself a place to rent, and she's okay. She made Aliyah. I'm not going to tell you exactly how old she is, but she's in her 70s, and she made Aliyah. Please God by all of us. So this story takes place in Yerushalayim. There was a yeshiva gedola, and the bachurei yeshiva, the students of this yeshiva, were standing outside. It was ben hasadarim. Ben hasadarim means between the study sessions. Now, you in yeshiva you learn in the morning, and you learn in the afternoon and evening. Yeah, but between that, you go home, you have a rest, you have lunch or whatever. Some people who are tzaddikim, they even learn during Ben Hasadarim, which is doubly impressive because they learn the whole day. Even when they're eating lunch, they've got their headphones on, listening to a shiur, or they've got a Chavetz Chaim in front of them and they're learning. They cannot stop learning. Bless these boys. Hashem should bless these boys with the strength to carry on. And please God by all of us. So these boys were standing outside the yeshiva. Some of them were chatting this, some of them were chatting about that, some were talking and learning. Whatever, they were all outside. Sometimes you need fresh air. So they're outside. And they're watching, and one of the boys looks in the street and he sees going past, there's like a Baraminan, Lo Aleinu, there's a funeral procession going past. Now, when you normally see a funeral procession, there's normally like a big crowd of people behind them accompanying the manoach, the dead person, to the graveside. But this was literally just the Chevra Kadisha, which is the burial society, and nobody else, which is unbelievable. In Yerushalayim, that is unbelievable. Yeah, so one of the boys, he's looking at it, he's saying, what? That is so sad. There's a funeral, and there's not going to be any Kaddish. There's not going to be anybody to cry for the niftar, for the dead person. And he started feeling bad. He started telling his friends, look, this funeral, there's nobody there. And they were looking, what? Nobody could believe it. And they're all pointing and saying how terribly sad it is. There's no mourners. So what did they do? One of them had an idea. He said, this is so sad that we need to do something. Let's go and let's be melaveh. Let's accompany this coffin. It wasn't a coffin, it was because they wrap the body in a talit in Israel. Let's go and accompany the dead body to the grave site, and we'll be there. At least we can say Kaddish, or we can say something there. It's such a terrible thing, such a sad thing. So one friend told the other one, and who told another one and another one. And in the end, they ran back into the yeshiva, and they brought out all the boys who were inside. And before long, the entire yeshiva, Ketana, was emptied out, and they all joined this funeral procession. So when it got to the gravesite, the rabbi came out, and he said to all these boys, he said, "What are you doing here? How come? I didn't know there's anybody going to come. What's going on?" So they said, "Look, we thought it was sad. We didn't want this dead person to go to the grave and nobody to either say Kaddish or to hear hespedim, eulogies. So we wanted to come to it." And the rabbi said, "But where did you all come from? You all came from one place?" And then, "Yeah, we came from the yeshiva down the road." And the rabbi said, "Which yeshiva? Tell me the name." So one of the boys told the rabbi the name, and the rabbi, not only was he gobsmacked, not only was he shocked, he started crying. So the boys are looking, what? Do we say something wrong? The rabbi said, "You do not understand what you've done. You do not understand what has just happened here." The rabbi said, "Look, I'll tell you why I'm crying. I'll tell you the story." He said, once upon a time, so this is like a story within a story. He said to the boys, "Let me tell you, once upon a time, around about 70 years ago, there was a very wealthy Jewish businessman. And this man bought a plot of land for the Jewish community in Eretz Israel, and he wanted to build a yeshiva. He said, "I want this land specifically, I'm buying it, I want you to build a yeshiva on this land." Yeah, he bought the land, he supported the yeshiva, he kept donating and donating and donating, and it became a beautiful makom Torah, beautiful place of learning Torah. And this man, as much as he donated, he wasn't getting any younger. And the community wanted to give kavod, honor, to this benefactor. So they said to him, "Look, can we do something for you?" And the man refused, flatly refused. He said, "No, you don't need anything. I just want this yeshiva." But they knew that this man had only one heir, only one child, and it was a daughter. So they said, "Look, all I have is my daughter. I care very much about my daughter. She is my all. I'm going to leave in this world." So the rabbi said, "Look, let us at least look after, you. Let's look after your daughter." He said, "No, I don't need anything. But you know what? For my daughter, maybe you can look after, and you can help her and guide her, because I won't be here for that much longer, and she's very young, and you can help her." Of course, the rabbis, when they heard that, that's the least they could do. This man built a yeshiva, gave the land. Of course, we'll look after your daughter, no problem. Yeah. Eventually, this rich man died, and the daughter, as she was growing up, who did you have to guide her? So she started slowly going off the derech, and the rabbis would intervene and would try and teach her. No, but this poor girl had some, not just she didn't have anybody to guide her, she also had a few psychological problems. And she would not listen to the rabbis at all. And she went off the derech, and before long, she completely abandoned the religion of her forefathers. Now, the rabbis did not give up. They kept trying to support her, encourage her. She would have nothing to do with it. She lived by herself. I don't think she even ever married. And as time went on, this old woman, the daughter of this rich man, she also died. And today, said the rabbi who was telling the story to all the boys, today you came along and the burial you are at is the levaya of this daughter. The levaya of this daughter of this man who donated not any yeshiva, your yeshiva. You hear that?
Yeah.
You hear the hashgacha? Who was the burial? Was the daughter of this man who started the yeshiva. That was the boys' yeshiva. The boys didn't know who this woman was. They just want to do a chesed. So see how Hashem repays the kindness of this man who donated the yeshiva. And he said to the rabbis, look after my daughter. Now, from the very yeshiva that man donated and he sustained, his own daughter was looked after by the Bachurei Yeshiva of the yeshiva he'd created. What a tremendous story. You can't explain this in any normal, rational way. It's just not normal. You see, the reward for Torah, this week's parasha, we got the Torah. What rewards Hashem is going to give us? This is just the reward that we see. What about the reward we're not going to see? What about the reward, the Keren Kayemet Le'olam Haba? What about the real reward for Torah? We won't see this until after 120 years when we leave this world. But here you have some evidence of the chesed Hashem made for this man and his family, that he gave them that tremendous levaya, the hundreds of yeshiva boys. Yehi Ratzon, all of us should grasp that Eitz Chaim, that tree of Torah, which we benefited from, which we witnessed in this week's parasha, and we will all see the chesed of Hashem. But not just after 120 years. That's the Keren, the principal payment in the world to come. But we want to see it in this world with our own eyes, where we will see what was to be heard, and we will hear what was only to be seen. When we could see, and our minds will be expanded, our conscience will be expanded to witness the Binyan Ariel, the Binyan Adei Ad. You should come in our time with no further pain, and with all of Klal Yisrael and Tchiret HaMeitim will witness Mashiach Tzidkenu, the Bayit Shlishi, Techef u'miyad mamash, v'chein yinosam v'namar Amen. Thank you.